All right, guys, how's it going? Now, before I get into this video, I just want to let you know I'll be live on here tonight at 6 o'clock UK time if you want to come along for a natter about all things LFC. Now, Ibrahima Konaté, I feel like we haven't spoke about him for a while. There's been some reporting in France and Spain, and I'm going to go over the different things that have been claimed, and that will enable you to try and form a conclusion or an opinion as to what you think is going to happen. I'm going to tell you what I think. I've also run this by Dave as well. Dave's my AI assistant that's been trained to analyse football news articles, the journalists that write them, and the outlets, publications, websites, newspapers, whatever, that run these or push these on us, right? And Dave's very good at breaking things down and helping me. Now, last night I saw a lot of stuff on social media following an article that was published in L'Equipe in France. Now, L'Equipe, if you don't know, I've got my notes here from a previous analysis of this journalist that's called Loïc Tanzi, I think his name is. Yeah, Loïc Tanzi. He's the reporter behind this article in L'Equipe, and we spoke about him before. Me and Dave, we've got a log of every single time any of these journalists say anything, right? And I was basically like, remind me who he is. So basically, let's go with the journalist first. Loïc Tanzi works for L'Equipe, one of France's most respected sports newspapers. He cut his teeth at RMC, Goal, Eurosport France, and Liberation, I think that is, or Liberation, before landing at L'Equipe, where he covers football, particularly transfer news. He's well connected. He's an amplifier of news, though. So his reports frequently coincide with or follow scoops by top-tier journalists above him. So that suggests he monitors the market closely, but he's not usually the first one to tell you. Does that make sense? Basically, sometimes repackages info. Not always the first mover, like I've just said, especially in fast-moving transfers. He can lag behind the big guns, okay? But in France, in that market, maybe he's seen as a bit more, a bit more important over there, or a bit more credible. But for us guys that that watch and read everything, he's not one of the main people. He would follow Romano, even, for example. Now, L'Equipe is a highly credible French institution trusted for its journalism and reporting. Their reporting style leans towards sober, fact-based analysis rather than sensationalism. However, very good with French football, but maybe not so great with Premier League clubs. But of course, if there's a French player involved, like Ibrahima Konaté, maybe you would want to consider what they've got to say. Now, the last time we were talking about Tanzi, he was saying that Rodrigo might move from Real Madrid to Liverpool. Before his piece, this is the notes that Dave's got here for me, the rumour was already doing the rounds, which kind of backs up what I've just said about him. This is a classic Tanzi move. He adds legitimacy and detail to swirling speculation. More of a confirmation rather than revelation kind of guy, if you like. So, should you and your viewers pay attention? Yes, especially for the French market intel and contextual weight. He's well embedded in L'Equipe's transfer network and regularly expands on rumours with concrete sources. But don't rely on him as your exclusive first source for sensational scoops like imminent signings or blockbuster transfers. You'll still want to cross-check his claims with credible outlets, credible journalists, okay? And basically, in a nutshell, Dave says, I remember this last time we went over it, Tanzi's like the classy best man at the party. He wasn't the one to deliver the bride's key, but he'll tell you exactly who gave it, when, and why. So he was writing for L'Equipe, and basically, now this article, from what I understand, is behind a paywall. And basically, they've published this article that says that despite Konaté's rather inconsistent start to the season and interest from Real Madrid, Liverpool executives continue to do what is necessary to extend Konaté's stay. And I would agree with that. I think they want him to stay, obviously. They're going to push and push and push and continue to try and offer him contracts. So that's why I'm never surprised when it says, you see these Twitter twats and aggregators and instigators saying they've offered a new contract to him, and people go, oh my God, there must be a chance then. No, Liverpool will continue doing that. as they will any player that's contract's expiring. And the player and the agent, they might not reject it, but they'll just keep it there in the background because, in my opinion, Konaté wants to go to Real Madrid. Now, if that falls through or goes pear-shaped and he's rejected Liverpool or burnt his bridges, he's fucked. So the stall and the stall and the stall, right? So this says exactly the same as what I'm just basically saying. Liverpool executives continue to do what is necessary to extend Konaté's stay in the same way they did with Virgil van Dijk and Mo Salah last season. L'Équipe adds that Liverpool have transmitted a new contract renewal proposal to Konaté's entourage in the last few days. And this, again, this has been repeated. This was that last time something came from France along these lines. It was the same as this. The Reds are said to be confident regarding the outcome of the negotiations and are convinced that Konaté's status in Arne Slot's squad is a strong evidence that his future lies at Anfield. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't see a lot in there. I haven't got the original article, right, to go over with you. I've seen quotes, as what has been said. One moment, I don't know if I've got them here. No, I haven't got them here. I won't keep you hanging. So basically, France, if you want to believe L'Équipe in France, someone that might have a bit of intel from Konaté's agent or could be using that in negotiations, maybe towards Real Madrid. Think about it, right? Remember, why am I hearing it? Why am I reading it? Who does this benefit? Why is it out there? You've always got to ask yourself that when these things come out. So you might automatically think, oh, L'Équipe, French publication, they're going to know what's going on with Konaté. Not necessarily truthful, though. It could be just a bit of leverage on Real Madrid if they're making, if they're fucking him around or his agent or trying to get a better deal. So then we look at the counter and we look at what's coming from Madrid. Now, José Félix Díaz, he's the main man, right? You've heard me speak about it many times before. I've spoken to José during the Trent situation. He was right about everything. He's the closest journalist to Real Madrid, the closest journalist to Florentino Perez, the man that is trusted by Real Madrid. Think Joyce, Liverpool, Joyce, Michael Edwards, that kind of relationship. Now, José Félix Díaz has recently left Marca to go to AS. Now, that's important because in the past, if people made a claim to me about something to do with Liverpool and they said it's coming out of Madrid, I'd say, is it Marca or AS? And they'd say AS. I go, oh, I'm more inclined to see what José's got to say at Marca. Well, he's left Marca after 31 years now, and he's now their main man at AS. Now, the article, I'm not going to read the entire article out to you. I want to save you time. I think I've got it here on my tablet to save me looking that way. Right. So what we got here, now this one I've run by Dave, right? And Dave says exactly as follows. Here we go again, Dunk. José's back on Konaté and now doing it from AS instead of Marca. And he says, I'll do, and this is what he's done. He's done summary, then full translation, then his take, propaganda, messaging, especially on Konaté. So a summary of the article. You know what's been said in France. They think that Liverpool executives are confident that Konaté will extend. That's coming from L'Équipe. Now, this is coming from another journalist, José Félix Díaz, and this is the Madrid version, right? He's basically saying Real Madrid won't get dragged into bidding wars. They still want to reinforce at centre-back, but they feel better now Militao is back and they totally trust Huijsen. Konaté is framed positively, calm, cautious, but clearly on a path towards Madrid. At Anfield, José says they already consider him lost. In other words, not like what the French are saying, that they're confident he's going to extend, with Liverpool. The Madrid angle is, no, Liverpool, they're already accepting defeat. He's going to Real Madrid. Upamecano, his name keeps getting thrown around. Upamecano and his agent are framed negatively by José. Leaks of a supposed agreement with Madrid are called far from reality. Gay is described as already on his way to Liverpool to finish what started in the previous window, obviously. So he's still saying that Gay is Anfield bound, despite people trying to make out that Real Madrid have an interest in him. They do have an interest in him. But he's saying in the article, now he's off to Liverpool, right? Final line in the article, Konaté is moving in a positive direction and Upamecano and his agent in a negative one, right? That's the money quote. This is very much José cleaning up the narrative. Konaté equals serious and real for Real Madrid. Upamecano equals agent games, Gay going to Liverpool, Madrid won't be used for leverage in that situation, right? So there's the full translation of the article. I'm not going to go through that with you. But basically, there's one bit in the article that's interesting. It says, Konaté, a Liverpool player, just like Trent once was, has chosen the path of prudence with respect to Real Madrid's interest, step by step, with caution, but with conviction. In fact, at Anfield, they already consider him lost. Bayern have appeared along the way, despite their sporting director saying last Friday that the Bavarians' first objective is to renew Upamecano. And then it goes on about the Upamecano and his agent in a negative way, all right? I need you to focus on what I just said to you again. José is cleaning up the narrative in this article. Konaté, serious and real for Real Madrid. Upamecano, agent games, Gay going to Liverpool. Now, the article, according to Dave, is pure José narrative management. Now he's at AS, and it's very telling for the Konaté story. Konaté, the good target. He paints Konaté as measured but committed. He has chosen the path of prudence, step by step, with caution but with conviction. Big line. In fact, at Anfield, they already consider him lost. That's José doubling down on what he's been building for months. Konaté to Madrid is not noise, it's a trajectory. Bayern are mentioned briefly, but almost as background. Madrid are the main character, Bayern the side quest. Now, Upamecano, the bad example, the subhead for it was Upamecano and his agent in the negative. He explicitly calls the leaked agreement with Madrid far from reality. I remember talking about that a couple of weeks ago, and I said, it doesn't sound right to me. This is him, José, basically saying Upamecano's camp are using Madrid's name, Madrid don't like that, and they're out. It's a warning shot to agents. If you try to play the Madrid card for leverage, we will publicly distance ourselves. Gay, Liverpool box ticked. The line, Gay, who is already on his way to Liverpool to complete what was started in the summer. That's José casually crediting Liverpool with getting Gay done and taking him off Madrid's board. It cleans up his earlier shortlist narrative. Some of you will remember that. Gay in Madrid was never that serious. He's going where he was always meant to go, Liverpool, while Madrid focus on their real prize, Konaté. From a Liverpool perspective, that line is actually quite encouraging on Gay, but it makes the Konaté situation feel even more cooked. Now, in the article, José says Madrid don't do auctions. Yeah, all right, José. The headline message, Real Madrid do not accept auctions. It's classic image polishing. Madrid are disciplined, above the chaos, and won't get into bidding wars and are too grand to be used as leverage. The reality, we all know they play the game like everybody else, but José's job is to polish that halo, and he's done it by praising Trent, Rudiger, Alaba as faithful to their word, therefore Madrid's word, and contrasting that with Davies, who you turned before, and now Upamecano's agent as the ones trying to exploit Madrid's name. So the bottom line for Konaté in this article by José Félix Díaz is keeps Konaté firmly in the positive track column in terms of joining them, moves Upamecano into the we don't like how his camp behaves bin, pushes Gay back towards Liverpool, essentially out of Madrid's way, and reaffirms that Madrid are actively looking for a centre-back, and Konaté is still the guy whose situation is described with certainty at Anfield. So if you're reading the tea leaves, José is now doing tidy-up work on the story. He's narrowing the field and cleaning the narrative so that if or when Konaté happens, it looks like the logical end of a long control process, not a mad scramble or a bidding war. Now, I hope you understood what all of that means, because there was a lot of stuff there to take in. What you have to decide is, do you want to believe the L'Equipe and that side, or Liverpool executives are confident, they're very confident that he's going to extend with them, or are you going to go with José Félix Díaz at Madrid, even though there's obvious propaganda in there? Is he actually on there saying that looks more like, who do you believe? Now, the thing is, with the French side of it, there's the French connection, and you think, well, maybe there's something in it. My personal opinion is that L'Equipe are being used by the agent to put leverage and pressure on Real Madrid, either to secure better terms or to keep that ball rolling, moving. I said this the last time they mentioned him. It just, when you hear things coming out of France, Liverpool executives think that, they're confident they're going to extend. It makes you want to believe it, but it just doesn't make sense that Jose is going down that route of, nah, he's on his way to Real Madrid unless something goes terribly fucking wrong. Anything can change in football. And I think that, okay, Liverpool are offering new contracts. You might see that as a positive. I don't. I see that as business as usual. Konaté's agent ain't going to reject them contract. He's not going to say, no, we're definitely going to Real Madrid, because that would be closing the door. Konaté's agent's got to stall and stall and stall. Do you know what I mean? A bit like what Trent did, but we all knew he was off. I think Konaté wants Real Madrid. I do, and I think he's going to go there. What do you think? Are you with me? Are you going to go with that angle, or are you going to listen to the French? Let me know what you think. I love it. I love going over stuff like this. I hope I explained it well there. Obviously, there was a lot of stuff, and Dave's give his analysis, and sometimes I need him just to help me a little bit. You know what I mean? All right, I'm going to leave it with you. All right, that's the latest. If you're confused or you don't know, you've got a question, drop it in the comments, and I'll get back to you. All right, guys. If you found this video informative, please thumbs up the video. Please drop me a comment. There's a love out under the video. It's called a super thanks. That's how you can support my channel if you want it to continue going or whatever. There's also a channel membership, etc, etc, etc. You know the drill. You know the grift. In the video description, there's a link to what's it called, Revolut. That's my beer kitty for Saturdays. All right, there you go. Right, I'll be live on here at 6 tonight. I'll see you then. We can have a chat about it then as well if you want.